Wicked. Here we are once again. Some living life in the flow zone action. We're here with Tec Bradford. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself.
What's going on, everyone? My name is Tec. I am from New York City, Brooklyn to be exact, and I love to dance. I'm all about the movement. I'm all about the flow, the rhythm. Let's make it happen, bro.
Awesome, let's do it. And we're in Brooklyn now, at Tec's place, which is amazing. There's all sorts of fun stuff. When you walk in, it's full of vibrancy, as you can see.
Yep.
And play. Tell us about play. What's your relationship with play been?
Play, for me, it's a natural element that we all learn from the time we are born. If you think about it, everything, the way we learn, it's all through play. We grab things, throw it, pull, explore. We're all scientists and artists from the time we come out. That playfulness, I've carried that with me throughout life. And as a dancer, I love to just move around and flow. If I see a leaf, I want to play around and move to that leaf.
Yeah.
If I see water flowing, same thing. So it's just a spontaneous thing.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need to be organized all the time.
Mm.
You can just, I just want to move.
Mm.
I just want to play with something. I just want to see, let me explore this. Let me see what this feels like. What is that experience about? For me, it's all about the experience of things, because that's what it connects with that deeper part.
Mm.
So understanding that for myself, that's what I want to bring to people, that memorable experience in a playful way.
Yeah.
So as you can see, you can't see it here, but a little bit of it is the wall behind me. It's it's a playful wall. You want to walk up to it, you want to do all these cool things, and like this, for example, like all these playful things. Look at this, just different element, the textures, the colors, the movement of it. It's all about that, moving around, exploring your environment. You have this, squishy, like look at all that. You know what I'm saying? I'm a little kid, I'm a big kid. What can I say? Love to play.
Different ways of doing it.
Yeah, different ways. So it's all about, look at that, superheroes within. I'm gonna get to that in a moment. You know what I'm saying, and it all starts with this, just my imagination. It comes from up here. If I think about it, I want to.
We were even saying different ways of doing things. So even like having the hat, how you wear your hat.
Look at,
for instance.
I mean, we all know the usual way, but tell me when's the first. Say the last time you saw something like this. So you got me right here, but then when I turn around, boom. You feel me?
Got different ways of doing it.
Yeah, it's a different way of doing it. So,
that's something that I actually do a lot. Like if I'm heading to work, for instance, I'll try to go a different way. Just from my own brain. I know that my brain knows that I go across this street. I might walk on the left side of the road.
Yeah.
I might just walk this route, but I like to explore and adventure different ways. I don't know necessarily why I do it. I don't know the science behind it, but I just know it feels good. It feels like I'm expanding. It feels like my neurons are firing in different ways, and I'm not just getting comfortable. For me, I like to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I always talk about paddling out into the, wading out into the waters of discomfort.
Yeah.
For me, that feels good.
That's where, and you're right, that's where we learn. You push those, you explore those boundaries. Places the unknown that you don't know. Because you get into your comfort zone, it's like, okay, yeah, I know this, I know how many steps are going to take to do this. It's like you come into a routine, you become rigid in a sense. But exactly what you're doing, you're playing.
Yeah.
You may not, a lot of people may not see it that way.
I might not call it play.
Exactly, may not call it play. Like, oh, I'm just strategizing. Guess what? It's play. We've just conditioned ourselves to be formal about things when it's just simple. When you think about it, it's just play. That's all it comes down to.
And is it, what do you say to people like, oh, you just, like you identify as like a big kid.
Yeah.
Do you get people saying, when are you going to grow up? Or like, what about maturity? Like, how does that all weave into the ideas of play?
I say, first of all, it's a slippery slope. Because you get it. If you want to be perceived a certain way, you're going to care about what other people think.
Yeah.
But if you're in your element doing what comes naturally to you, and you got that feeling of, I'm confident and secure in what I'm doing, and you're not doing harm to anyone. If I'm bringing value in that element, then I'm doing something right. So for me, it's not about growing up or when you're going to get a real job. Hey, I've impacted people. You know, I make a living out of it. So guess what?
So how do you make it? What does that look like in your day to day? Like how have you made a living out of these ideas?
Well, it all started with doing personal training. You know, working with clients, and that I've also been teaching students dance from about 2004. So for me, every time I get to work with students as young as 3 years old, all the way up to I've worked with adults in their 60s. So for me, coming up with choreography or a lesson plan in how to bring across a certain element, a certain subject, a certain issue, a topic of some sort, that keeps me grounded in that element.
Yeah.
So for me, the creating anything, being in that creative mode of, okay, well, how can I make this? How can I teach about, how does that tree grow? How does it start from the small stage? What elements can I bring into that to make it playful? See people moving on the streets. You know, there's times that I'll purposely see a crowd happening, and it's a choreography to me. You know, weaving through that crowd, be like, oh. So I just stay in my element, and I filter out the noise of other people saying things like, when are you going to grow up? When are you going to get a job? You know, said it's done well for me so far into this point in my life. Why am I going to stop doing that? You know, exactly. Why change it when nothing's wrong with what I'm doing?
Yeah. And so what does it look like in terms of like working with, say, whoever you work with, whether it's a 3-year-old or whether it's a 30-year-old or older, what kind of spaces do you create, and like what happens when they come to work with you? How do they find out about you, and then once they come, what is it, a session? Is it a curriculum? Like what is it, a one experience? Like what does it look like?
It's all of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people will find out about it when I'm being playful.
Yeah.
Say if I'm in a studio just playing around, and I'm doing stuff in my element, moving around. People are always curious. They're looking like, wait, what? And they'll approach me. Or if I see a kid doing a movement, I'll just follow that kid doing that movement. So now I'm engaging with them on their level to where it disarms and makes them comfortable. And it's like, oh, hey, I'm familiar with that. Let's, you know, exactly. Now we're communicating. We're having a conversation. You know, even if it's not with words, but just a context, like.
So for instance, you're just walking down the street. That's something you might do.
Yeah, like I've done it on the subway. I'll see a mom with a child in a stroller, and the kid is doing something, and I'll just like, okay, do it on a smaller scale. And before you know it, okay, it smiles, the hands start moving, and just mimic and mirroring, and you know. So it's that form of, again, playful communication where it's recognized even at that small age. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Is that something that you find is reciprocated on, like, no matter where in the world you go and no matter what age you engage with that in? Or
yeah, I find it's
like language barriers and things like this?
It transcends all the differences that we as humans have put on ourselves. You know, whether it be gender, race, religious background, ethnic, cultural, all that stuff, it transcends because it comes down to simple communication and, oh, I recognize that, I see you. You know, it's something like, oh, even if it's unfamiliar, you know it because it's all embedded within us in such a deep part. Children, they remember it because they're still connected, right? They're in it. As adults, we tend to stray, disconnect, you know, because
it's wrong.
Exactly. We get conditioned out of it, you know, it's like, oh, you can't do that. But I find no matter where you go, language, anything, once you can make that connection in that way.
What are some of the, can you break it down? Like play consists of these kind of elements, or is it kind of, you don't really look at it that way, or?
I try my best not to put a definition to things, only because it limits.
Then you're being rigid again.
But
are there some common things? Like when I first hear play, I'm thinking fun. I'm thinking maybe movement. I'm thinking interactive, like not stationary. Maybe stationary could be, say, games where you're stationary.
Exactly.
But
so I think of it this way. If I had to give it some kind of formulation, I would think of the letter O or the number 0.
Yeah.
You got the ring, where that's your border, your boundary. But within that space, you're free to do and move and make connections in any way you want, any way that comes to mind, without me telling you, oh no, you got to do this within this space. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, now I can be there to guide or, you know, give a little suggestion, but beyond that, I want to see what comes out organically.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to influence, you know, but as long as there's no danger or anything happening. So play for me, same thing you said, it's fun, it's colorful, as you can see. It's very colorful, it's texturized. You know, it's all about understanding, immersing all the senses, because we learn mostly with our eyes. I make a conscious effort to, anytime I'm designing any kind of lesson plan or activity, to incorporate all the senses. To give people that feeling of, oh wow, you can do something where we're using our eyes, then I'll do the same thing. Close your eyes.
Yeah, blindfolded.
Exactly. Now how experience that same activity with all the other senses except your eyes.
New eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, you see in other ways, you perceive it in many different ways.
So that's multifaceted, like multi-textural.
Yep.
What else? What other ideas come to mind? When you discussing play and engaging with play. The reason I'm asking is because I'm like, if someone's like, but what is playfulness? What does it look like? How do I know I'm being playful? How do I engage more of that? You know, so what are some things that people can
look for to kind of to pull out? Let's see.
You've got some great ones already. I'm just trying to get a bit.
Yeah. See, well, good question, because I don't usually think about these things.
Yeah.
I go with the feeling for me. If it feels right and it has a rhythm, I look for a certain rhythm to things. Yeah. Like, okay. Because I guide things off of how I feel. If it feels too rigid for me, like
restrictive.
If it's too restrictive, then I'll be like, maybe not so much.
So that's maybe that might be outside of the...
outside of that you know, boundary.
Yeah. And talk to us a little bit about the idea of... I've totally lost my track of thought. But in terms of like engaging playfulness, because I know that playfulness is helpful with sustainability of like habits and things like this. I know if something's not fun, if I don't feel like I can have fun with it, if I feel it's too rigid, then I'll get bored with it.
Yeah, you lose interest.
Yeah, lose interest. I won't stick with it. So what would you suggest, or would you suggest in the first place, to incorporate playfulness in terms of like the things that are more discipline, you know, sticking with things like schoolwork, homework, work, things like this?
Well, the first way I like to incorporate play, let's say into homework, for example. Let's say it's a subject on science, human body, because that's what I love, movement. So instead of it being this standardized, you sit there and you write about how does the heart beat, the blood moves through this and that. I would want to create a visual interactive space where it's like, okay, well, let's make compartments. The heart has compartments. Let's make 4 different compartments.
Like visual
representation.
Or like 3D.
Yeah, exactly. You know, or I can use my space. Let's say you even have your furniture. You know, you can make the best of what you have. You have bed sheets at home. You can create a space to give it a sense of the environment, what it can be like. So now you're making it more tangible, as opposed to just being on paper. And it resonates better because it sticks with you. It's like, okay, cool. Now we're gonna set up this sheet over a couch, 2 couches.
So that could be like
that's one chamber, exactly. So now let's travel through, you know, and stop for a second. Listen, what do you hear? You know, think of the blood rushing through. Are you bouncing the walls of the arteries, all these things? And now we're going to come out on the other side, and now we're in a different chamber. Let's, you know, what is that going to feel like?
So, you know, engaging the other senses.
Exactly. So now we go back to the homework, and it becomes, oh, okay, blood, it goes through these chambers first, and you remember because you attach it to that experience, that movement, that understanding, you know.
It's kind of like memory. I know that I had a terrible memory, like, I don't know how many years ago, 15 years ago. Someone told me something, forget it. for not just short term, but like names, like directions, like shopping lists, or like I write a list and I would have to look at it. Like I'd look at it, I'd look at the thing and I'd walk, and by the time I've walked, I've forgotten the thing. I have to look at it, so it was terrible. And so I spent a good 6 months just getting like training on having good memory.
Yeah.
And one of the things was, the most basic thing, I read all the things and I studied it for 6 months, memory, how to gain a better memory. The one thing that stood out is, if you want to have a good memory, just make the things you want to remember memorable. Simple concept. So I'm like, duh, that was a penny drop moment. So in my mind, I'm having fun and playing with the memory, playing with the representation. So, have a shopping list and it's like eggs. So I'm thinking chicken, I'm laying an egg, a big ass chicken, it's hilarious. And then the egg cracks onto a pig, which is bacon, and then it cracks, the pig is it's flying, and and it's flying to the field where it sees cows being milked, and it's raining milk, and that's making
so you create a narrative.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, right. So you built a narrative to tell a story.
Yeah.
That's another element. Creating a story and attaching it to those things, because it means something, more valuable.
Remember it, you feel it, and it's like it's funny, and humor is another
Yes.
a big part. That's why I make it hilarious.
Yes, humor, imagination, just go reach as far as you can, because it's all about what's up here. How much you can imagine, you can go out and do as. You don't know what you can do unless you go out. So for me, my I guess you can say my motto is that you imagine it, you create it, then you play.
Yeah.
Imagine, create, play.
So that's the kind of model.
Yeah, that's what I like to do. So I'll think about all this. Oh, this would be cool. I wonder, what if?
So
all those questions. Yeah, that curiosity, that sense of awe and wonder about any little thing.
Yeah. And
then I'll go, okay, well. That's when the creativity, the ideas start flowing in. Jot it down, then I'll start to play around with it. What would this feel like? What would this look like? What would it sound like? What would it smell? What would it taste like?
Yeah.
All those things. Yeah. Engaging every aspect, being fully immersed inside of that imagination, and then bringing it to life.
Yeah.
So it's, I guess we can say, humor, imagination, fun, colorful. Exciting.
So those modalities and submodalities that uses.
Yeah, systems and systems.
The question I asked earlier reminded me of what I was asking, which was like the idea of having like a 2D representation versus a 3D representation of ideas or concepts. If we're learning in textbooks which are flat, if we're looking at diagrams which are flat, and then turning them into, whether it's three-dimensional, whether it's a virtual reality headset, or even like you were saying, the physical, using the things you have around you.
Yeah.
That. Bringing those ideas, I guess that's a playful kind of way to look at things as well.
Most certainly. Who would think of using their household furniture, and creating an experience for themselves or their children? So that's the kind of space I like to be in.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, I can't do this," or "Oh, because of this, I don't have." Well, look around. What do you have? What do you have to make this? Experience happen.
Yeah. And then get creative.
And get creative out of it. That it's spring. Then you have, if you're limited in that way, then it forces you to be creative.
Yeah.
It forces you to think of, okay, what is the best way that I can represent this and symbolize this.
And you're studying at the moment. You've got a self-design. What are you up to with your studies?
Oh man, what am I not?
I imagine you're always studying like that. Someone is a never-ending learner.
Lifelong change is always happening. Blood cells are always renewing, skin cells. So I am that. Always thinking, always changing, always evolving. So back in a university right now, and doing a self-design program, because I could not get down with the whole you have to stick to this major doing that program of study. I need to be able to, I think of it like being an octopus, where I need to have my tentacles out in different spaces and pull all that in to have that in my puzzle. So I'm doing a self-design study. I'm focusing on immersive storytelling, creative entrepreneurship, and strategic design and management, which it's pretty much...
So say those again, immersive storytelling.
Immersive storytelling,
Yep.
creative entrepreneurship,
Yep.
and strategic design management.
Okay.
So all it pretty much is coming up with very memorable, cool ways to connect with people and give them that experience where they want to come back.
Yeah.
And be a part of.
So for what? Really, like who do you imagine will benefit from this work you're doing? Is it like you're going to be working with whoever, or is it going to be working with businesses, or is it going to be? I'm imagining from those things you tell me, I think that'd be excellent for like marketing. Oh, excellent for people, brands. Or, like.
So honestly, first and foremost, is going to be about me. Yeah. I'm building a company. Yeah. Right now, the company is called Just My Imagination. And it's a company that specifically teaches about the human body, the relationship that we have with our bodies, and the relationship with us and the natural environment and our built environment that we have around us. So it's creating that story and bringing it to life out into the world, and showing all the cool things like you're a blood cell. What do you do as a blood cell? Yeah, you just hear the term blood, but what does that really mean? What is that made up of, So if you were to then take on and embody what a blood cell is and really have that experience, now you're attached to, oh wow, okay, so this is actually happening inside me right now as I sit here and do this activity. Yeah. My heart is pumping when I run. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean for me? Breathing, all those different things. I want to bring it out from inside and bring it out into the world.
So like you're talking like educational?
Educational, go into schools, ultimately to create a program where I can license it out to different people and organizations to teach this program all over the world.
As basics of anatomy.
Anatomy and
the different systems in our body, or like what a human body is made up of and how it moves. So,
yeah. And so on the surface level, it's about movement. It's about movement, and it's teaching you about your body being physically active, which then goes into fitness and health. By doing this, then this happens. So if I don't do this, then this happens.
So is it like personal training was kind of like a bit rigid and a bit, you're like, what? There's more to this.
Yeah.
And then that's where they get these other...
Yeah. So it all stemmed from personal training with clients. They wanted these results so fast overnight, but they didn't understand how their bodies work. And then you have troves of information coming in. Oh, take this pill, take that, do that. But still, you taking all these pills and all these supplements, you still don't know what it's doing internally because you can't see it. The only thing we see is the external.
Of it, yeah.
Exactly. So I wanted to get into the underside of everything and bring the what's in, bring it out. So, okay, cool. You want this result? This is what's happening internally. Now it's going to give you a different experience of, oh wow, maybe I don't need to do this, or maybe I need to do more of this.
Because I think it's funny not funny, but it's interesting how I've been a personal trainer. Yeah. I'm trained as a personal trainer too. I did years of training and just the basic. I've spent a lot of time first and foremost on the goals. What do you want in the first place? Why are you here? Because if you don't know, then it's And then secondly is like, all right, actually having some understanding of physiology and your body and what it does and what it can do, what it can't do. Like that I find is way more beneficial than going, I do this exercise, do it like this, but knowing why and knowing what is capable, I find is very helpful. But it's a whole nother, like you can't just do that in 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
Exactly. That takes, that takes time. So that's where I guess the idea was birthed, came from those experiences as a trainer. And then also coupled with working with kids. So the fun element, the curiosity of kids from teaching kids, and they will always ask questions. I learned a lot from my students when I would teach them. Like, wow, okay,
that's
cool.
a great question.
Yeah,
I better go find out.
Yeah, I never thought about that. So then I said, okay, I'll reach out to all my friends who are parents, and I told them, I said, listen, make a note of all the questions your kids ask you.
Oh, this was all clients or kids'
all,
parents?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I told them, said, any question they ask you that you may think it's out there, write it down
and bring it in
and just send it to me.
Yeah.
Send it to me so I started building a database of questions. Kids were, oh, why this work? What is this? Why do I sleep? What when I sneeze? You know. So it gave me that was like data mining to get information into how kids think. Exactly how they were and get to their level, interact with them. So it was those two elements coming together.
How long was the data? How long did you spend doing that?
I did that for about a year.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was also traveling and touring at the time.
Yeah.
So anytime I met parents who had young kids.
Yeah, what questions?
Yeah, like what kind of questions do your kids ask you? You know, what do you think when it comes to the body? What did they say?
And that was your way of going, all right, cool. Like again, we were talking about value earlier.
Yeah.
It's like that's forming those relationships which you were talking about of, you know, caring what the people you're going to be working with and that you love to work with are actually want and need.
Yeah.
You know, so they have questions which they want solutions to, and you might not even have you have a passion to find out, and you might not know it.
Yeah.
But you actually have a passion to find it and actually deliver it. So that's like a great move, you know, in terms of 1 year of actually focusing on the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and you don't even know a solution yet.
Yeah.
And then you come up with it. So was that kind of the idea of, you know, you're asking these questions because you wanted to create a solution, and that's where this sort of just my imagination was coming from?
Yeah. So
was that how it happened, or was it a bit different?
No, it happened exactly like that. So asking, because for me, first of all, I wanted to know.
Yeah.
So
that's same with me.
Yeah, I wanted to know.
That's why I'm here talking to you, because I'm interested in what people have to offer, and you know, it's the same deal.
Absolutely. And so that gave me the initial spark to go out there and be like, okay, I know I want to know. So I know other people, they must want to know as well. So let me go and start asking questions. I started by putting myself in the state of mind, okay, well, what do I want to know? I said, what questions would I ask if I was in that place? So I started writing down. But then I said, no, I need to get deeper into the source, go to the source. So I started asking parents, what are their kids? And I would even ask some of my students in the class, like, you know, what do you think? Like, just any question?
Thoughts?
Yeah. And I would make note of all of that. And that gave me a wealth of information into, okay, this is how I need to design the program. Because it's getting input from those people.
What were some of the ones that stand out? Like, did you find that there was a category, or was it like mostly physical? Was it mostly mental? Was it mostly spiritual? Like, was there categories that came up regularly?
Physical throughout.
It came up a lot.
Physical came up a lot.
Why is my body work? Why
do I feel like this? Like, what sleep? Like, what is that when we sleep? What happens when we sleep?
That's a great question. Do you have any insight into that?
At this point, it's all we know is we dream.
What is that?
You know, right? And so it takes you down the rabbit hole of all those things, but it's good because it keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. What have you found out about sleep? What purpose, or what happens? So where does our awareness go?
Sleep is very important, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because the information I came across, 8 hours of sleep. When we sleep, our bodies need to regenerate. So all the things that are happening throughout the day, sleep is important because at that time, certain systems need to reset. So when other parts of the systems are working to keep you asleep, the other ones are in the background. Like, okay, we need to clean this up. We need to go in here and get rid of that.
Can you be a bit more specific with other systems? And
So we have 12 systems, organ systems in our body. Digestive system, for example. Why it's not good to eat late at night, then go to bed? Because you're putting a strain. So your body at nighttime, or now whenever you need to sleep, your nervous system, and it needs to be at a certain level so you can just relax and be in a relaxed state so that your digestive system can kick in and start processing foods and everything that went through your body during the daytime and sort it. It's like a sort center. It's like, okay, you need to go here, your nutrients, you got to go here. We need you in the heart, we need you to the brain. You got to go out as trash, so you know where you got to go, right? And when you wake up, your digestive system is reset now. That's why, AKA breakfast, oh, I'm hungry, what is this feeling? I need to go and eat and, replenish and put the stuff back in. And so during different times throughout the day, your digestive system is more active than your nervous system or your integumentary, your skin. Like, that is the biggest organ in our bodies. It's filtering things constantly, 24/7, always happening. We don't see it. We're like a big air conditioning filter, just
Big
taking in toxins, just taking things in, sweating and getting it out of our bodies. Why do we sweat? That was one of the, like, why do I sweat when I dance? Why do I sweat from my armpits? I said, well, we're filters. We're filtering out everything and cooling down.
What do they call this? The lymphatic, is that
lymphatic system? That helps to drain all of the unnecessary toxin that your liver breaks down. It gets out your system through all these little pores and ports. People are like, oh, I don't like to sweat. Well, you know what? It's actually beneficial for you. You want to sweat, so that's your way of cooling down.
I heard that like sweat is like this like magical liquid that keeps you young, and like if you sweat every day, like that's a really, really healthy thing to do. Like for me, I love sweating every day in whatever way it might be, but like working myself up, whether it's a walk, whether it's sex, whether it's work, whether it's working out, whatever it is. Even standing, I'll be standing, doing qigong every day, and I'll break a sweat. I feel that is really good for me. I don't know. Again, a lot of things I do intuitively. I don't necessarily know why or study and go deep into them. But it just feels right. So,
and that's a good point. You hit it right on the head. You go with the feeling. It feels right, and you just.
And it works for me.
It works, exactly.
That's one thing I don't do well is sleep. I sleep maybe 4 to 6 hours a night on average. But on average, and then maybe I'll get like 8 or 9. And I'll get about between 40 and 49 a week. People say 8 hours. Where did that come from? Is that because I know some people, even my mentors I look up to, they're like, I sleep 4 hours a night. For like 30 years, and it's because I do what I love, and I'm only living with my highest values, and nothing that I do is that I don't want to do, and it fills me with energy, fills me with inspiration, and I don't really need to sleep because I don't tax my system with eating too much, or I don't tax my system with doing shit I don't want to do.
That's a big part of it. And I would say they're absolutely right. When you're doing something that you love doing, it never feels like work. You don't feel tired. You don't feel stressed. The body, don't strain.
For me, getting 49 hours sleep is good. I can get 5 hours sleep. I'm good, but that's like 35 hours. But then it might get up to like 42. 42 seems good because I'll get the extra. I might get a couple of nights of 7 hours, and that's fine. And I'm operating at optimum. And I find sometimes if I get 6, I'm like tired. So it's getting into a rhythm.
It is. It is getting to a rhythm and
finding what works, I think.
Right, you got to know yourself. Like you said, self-awareness and understanding what works for you, because what works for you may not work for me, and vice versa. So it's doing a little bit of investigation, some inventory, knowing, I felt like this when I had 5, I had 6, and I'm like, and then
4, I was like,
exactly, and there's so many factors that things that factor into it.
Water is something that helps me. Like if I drink a lot of water all the time, I don't need as much sleep. I don't get as tired. I don't hit the wall. And I find as well, like giving into the wall as well, something like you can hit the wall and go, oh, I need sleep, I'm tired, and tell the story. But if you know it's a wall that you come into it and you just push through a little bit, then you hit another wind. Your body's like, well, we're obviously not going to sleep. So
exactly. So we might as well let's get all the energy we can and put it into that activity that we're doing.
Is what have you found so far? How far into your course are you, and what are there some key questions that drive you with what you're studying? Is it like you trying to answer particular questions in what you're studying now?
Oh, well, two classes I'm taking right now. I'm doing a food science class, and I'm doing a big data consumer research class, which technology. Starts talking about all the interactive technology, virtual reality, augmented reality, all the mixed reality that's out there.
Smartphones,
smart everything,
fridge, smart pants, smart house,
smart everything. I'm wondering to begin, like, are we smart? Are we, but I chose those two classes together because food, one, we all eat. We need to eat to be replenished, provide our bodies with nutrients, right?
Yeah.
So
that's another inconvenience.
If you just press a button, like, I'm good.
Just put me to the machine. It gives me the nutrients I need so I can keep going. And it's like, and while I'm going.
All right. So.
Oh, I love food, but it is inconvenience because I'm in the kitchen chopping and cooking. You know what I mean? So.
It takes time. It does take time. But for me, I don't mind that because it comes back to the experience of doing something and getting that. In those moments, I'm able to. It's like a meditative state. You know?
I look at it as when I'm eating and take my time. And I use it as a practice. Like I look at life as meditation. That's my favorite meditation. And when I'm eating and chopping and cooking and smelling the food, I look at that too. But it is. If I look at it,
exactly. Depending on what lens am I looking through today? Today it's an inconvenience. Today it's
Sorry, back to the surgery. Right?
Yeah, so
I digress.
I chose those two because looking at data and food and seeing how food science, looking at the entire food system and how food is prepared, how it's grown, and all these things, and then it goes into our bodies. How does that affect all the things the process that it went through? How does it affect us internally? Which taps into the project. It's like, okay, well, if I consume organic versus non-organic, or food that has depleted minerals, GMOs and all that, how does that interact with what's going on internally? And then using the data.
So is that like looking at that as like the quality of fuel you put into the tank?
Exactly.
So if they're using like
diesel versus exactly
leaded versus
unleaded, regular, super, exactly. So looking at, and that's the exact I guess narrative and the creative way I looked at it. It's like, okay, well, if I looked at this as a machine, this is the fuel that I'm using for that machine, and I want to know that I'm putting the most optimum. You're not going to go and, if your car is meant to be using premium, you're not going to go and put diesel because you're going to destroy it. You're going to ruin the engine and all the parts and valves and everything. So you got to take ownership for our own. Like, this is our vehicle. Take ownership for it and know what's happening.
And in terms of that question, and then I guess the big, what do you call it, the big data mining?
The big data research.
So is that like how to get these ideas out to the masses, or where does that piece fit in the puzzle?
Well, interesting enough, the data class, it teaches how to use the software, data visualization software. So going back to the whole 2D versus 3D, all that information about food, it sounds, one way. It's like, okay, cool. But to visualize it, bring it into a visual space, to where it's like, okay.
So that's why you're marrying it with the augmented reality, so you can
exactly augmented, the virtual reality, and build those spaces where you can, okay, well, this is what's happening. This is how it's interacting with us internally. You
can see it.
Immerse yourself in this environment and go and explore that environment virtually to see, like, oh wow, this is good, not good,
Versus you see the cheap fuel and how that
cheap
that
fuel.
affects you.
This is what happens. Premium. Here's what happens. So now you're attaching. It becomes more subjective
and meaningful. And memorable.
Exactly. Whereas if it's a flat 2D surface, it's like, okay, cool, I see all the GMOs. This is what it does. It doesn't.
You're reading it. That might bring a picture to your mind. But it hasn't got the tangible.
Exactly. And then also I like to get doing it that way. You get feedback from people. Like, what was your experience in that? How could we better bring this point across?
So again, is it sort of you coming back to education?
It always comes back to education, because if you don't know, like, you're going to continue with the things that you do know, which may not be beneficial for you. At that time. Exactly.
And the things you don't know, that you don't know, the things that have the capacity to be able to change the experience.
So it always comes back to it's like full circle.
And how long have you been in the course, and how long does it go for, and what's the objectives of it? So once you're done, what do you envision happening with the work you're doing?
Well, it's going to go for 3 to 4 years. I just started. This is my first semester.
Oh, nice.
Fresh off.
So you're probably answering all the questions I'm asking you right now at the moment, right?
Yeah. Well, I went into this knowing what I wanted to do. And this is why I'm doing self-design, number one, and choosing courses that align with what I want to do, which is to get this company to the point where there's a narrative, a storyline that's going to be in book format.
Yep.
Then I want to do an actual live stage show production.
So,
So
like
from the page
on stage?
to the stage.
Yeah, page to the stage.
Page to the stage. That's how we're doing it.
Yeah.
And then from the stage to make an actual playground.
Okay,
Where
that people come to?
people are coming, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
think of it as a museum, but not one of those museums you're going to come and stand and, oh no, no. You are going to come to the museum and interact. You're going to be a cell.
Yeah.
You're going to have a task to complete. And you're going to go and interact with every other person and people and groups and systems in this playground and be a team responsible for, one system. You're the circulatory system. Here's your task. These are your teammates. Let's go and make things happen. So that is the ultimate goal, is to have from the page to the stage to the playground.
Okay.
And have it full circle. And within that, I know for a fact, because the body is always changing and it's always evolving, things are always happening, the program is going to be the same way.
It'll be evolving.
It'll be evolving and changing, because with each experience that people have, they're going to come out of it with something like, oh wow. And then the feedback loop, they're going to come, oh hey, I like this about it. Maybe you can, what if, So it's that conversation again, that open line of communication.
Feedback loop,
So that's my goal.
That's awesome. And yeah, I'm imagining, because you have things like whatever Science Works or the planetarium and these kind of things, and you see like it's like 2D, it's on a flat screen, but you might have 3D animation or something walking you through the blood system, and it's you learn something from that. But I imagine in places like that, you go to museums or go to wherever these places are, and actually have that playground traveling, like a stage show or whatever.
Yeah,
exactly. I see that probably super beneficial for kids and schools and curriculums and this type of thing.
Yeah, I've even talked to some college students and gave a little synopsis, and they said, man, if I had this as a supplemental material to my anatomy class, I would love it.
Yeah, and probably my grades
would retain exactly. So my initial goal is a universal thing.
Yeah.
I'm starting with children because that's the most natural. Still has that element of hunger and exactly.
Naturally.
Yeah, and then of course, but I have to shape it because the children are gonna make it happen because it's still in them to do that. And where I need to guide and facilitate. Of course, I'll do that, but for the most part, starting with that, because I also want to learn. I also want to maintain, because that keeps me young. Interacting with the children and seeing all the ideas, and then to the point it's gonna spiral and grow outwards where parents are interested now. It's gonna be parents and kids, interacting together, doing these activities, and then eventually, get to a level where it's for med students. We want to learn about the anatomy 101 or through this method. And of course, it's going to be scaled up accordingly to the level of what medical school standards are, where they need like kind of information, but just giving a different way of experiencing things and learning instead of just I'm looking down at a book or I'm looking at a flat screen.
Well, it's visual, mostly it gets to live in visual, and the different methods of learning. I think one of the questions you asked Alpha was what kind of a learner are you? I guess it's assumed that we all learn one kind of way, the way that it's been presented for however many years it's been presented.
In that one way.
And that what you're doing is offering new ways of actually catering to all the different styles of learning that people learn. And people who are ADD or ADHD or dyslexic or whatever, probably geniuses if presented
in the way that they can. You meet them where they are, on their territory. Where it's like, okay, now I understand
Speaking their language. And I guess that's the key thing that's coming across from talking to you, is that's an idea that is super helpful in general, but also with educating or with just connecting and with interacting, and just basic interacting is meeting people with where they're at. I think is huge.
Instead of trying to force them oh, I'm going to force my way what's best for me. I'm going to force that on you to teach you this thing that I love. You may not love it.
It's like a lack of care and a lack of curiosity as well.
Yeah, and a lack of awareness.
Yeah.
And going into that situation, it's like, oh, come on, man. That's that top-down approach where I know what's best for you. I'm going to come into your neighborhood or your house and tell you what to put in your fridge.
Yeah.
You know, instead of, oh, well, what would you like? How would you, let's interact. Let's communicate. Let's community.
Yeah, community. Yeah, it's amazing. And that's a concept, as well, that I think is flawed of treating, love thy neighbor. Or like, I think the idea is treat others how you would wish to be treated. I'm like, that's a terrible idea. Because I like to be treated a certain way. But if I take the time to find out how you would like to be treated, which forces me to ask you a question, I treat others how they would like to be treated.
Yes.
Because if I take on the idea of treat others how I like to be treated, it causes that top down, do as I say.
Exactly.
I'm the Lord, I'm the God.
Yeah.
Do it like this, But if it's like treat others how they would like to be treated, it's like, oh, I don't know. First and foremost, I have no idea what your experience is like. Whereas if I try on the idea of treat others how they would like to be treated, it forces me to be curious and be playful and be
to reach out
and be open and
instead of that closed off. So now you want to extend an interest in, okay, well, what makes you tick? What are you curious about? And then a conversation starts, because a lot of misunderstanding comes from lack of communication,
preconception.
Experiences that we've grown up, we've learned from parents and just life experiences. So we go into the world with these biases, thinking that everyone else is seeing the world through our narrative. It's like, no, you have to know how to talk to people.
And I can see play as a super,
easy way to, it disarms people.
Yeah.
It disarms people.
And that's something actually I really enjoy, is a playful warmth, or like a playful confidence, or it's like I like to play. I'm having fun. It's almost flirtatious, It's like being curious and being flirtatious and being interested and really playful and happy, making jokes and smiling, and and that's a warming and disarming way to interact with people. And it's like it breaks down the walls, it breaks down the differences that we have, and I think it's a very effective way to interact with the world.
Most definitely. And that is also on a bigger scale. My goal is to bring that element of play to where it's seen as something, it's childish. No. It's not childish.
It's humanish.
No, it's humanish, exactly. It's a human thing. There's no reason why we should label it and put it into this box.
And I feel that would be super beneficial on policy level and a federal and state and these kind of council level, where we're having fun learning about what the people us want.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, okay, if you come across someone that deals with politics, they're naturally, politics is very rigid and straight line and whatnot,
black and white.
Exactly. But I'm sure if you can speak to them in their language through play, they'll find and see I can be more flexible in these places. The research is out there that play, it does make things easier to approach and have a conversation about.
What are some of the research you've done and some of the things that stand out in that research you've done around play?
Well, playgrounds, for example.
Like jungle gym?
Jungle gyms, the current way that playgrounds are designed. If you look at it, like you walk past a park, it's in an encaged area. So developmentally, you're already saying, okay,
this area.
It's
like we play there.
Exactly. You can play here and here.
Non-play area.
Right.
Yeah.
So
in I guess the more beneficial way or effective way would be to build those spaces, but just simply not have a fence, for instance. Or
I go back to, this is where I get into the environmental aspect. You look at, I like more of the natural aesthetics.
So there's work with what is
work like you have
parkour or something like this.
Exactly. Yeah. Trees, there's wood, the different textures that you find outside, outdoor, dirt, sand, all these different things, and find a creative way to put all those things together where it can become an experience about oh wow, okay, this is what this feels like when I walk in sand. Okay, it's different to if there's water and what I can do with it. And that gives a more connected. First of all, you're connecting to your natural environment. Without the natural environment, you could not build the built environment.
Yeah, well,
you couldn't have anything.
The tree to make the wood.
Exactly. So disregarding and just making it into boxes. We have bars and all these different things. Yeah, it may work, but what are you really saying on a deeper level? It's like, you can only do these certain things, and this is what play is.
Yeah. And is there examples of that already that designers are making and playground designers and things like this? Are there examples of exactly what you're talking about?
There is. I can't remember her name. She's a Japanese designer, and she made an entire little apparatus for kids where it looks like a big a hammock, but out of she crochets yarn, knits together and makes it into different shapes. And made an installation where kids, you can fall into it and you're rolling and so you're getting all these different feelings. You're getting to experience all the different movements that we forget as adults that we know how to do. And that's and you can climb it too. You can climb on it, you can stretch it, but just enough to where you don't fall through. It gives you all these different feelings and understanding. Oh wow, this is my body in the space, and this is a relationship I have with this environment, with this piece of specific equipment. And there's an architect, a Danish architect, Bjarke Ingels. His approach to architect is very playful. He built so many buildings all over the world, and when you look at his designs, everything has a playfulness to it. Whether it's a spiral building, whether it's a bridge that looks like it's just suspended in midair, and all those different things. He built a building on the west side of Manhattan, and it looks just like a triangle with a slide coming down it, and
so he just has fun with
he has
like the how do you call it, like the optical illusion type stuff.
So from one angle you'll see it coming down one side, and when you just look at it from front, it's like, whoa, wow. And I look at people like that because they have that element of playfulness. So even in his prestigious job as an architect, where people are, we're serious, we're smart, we're intellectuals, he brought that sense of play into his work, into design, which made it stand out. People gravitated to it.
It is highly attractive. Like I think of all the authors that I love, they're very playful with the way they write and present their ideas. And you look at people, I don't know, Quentin Tarantino. The idea is very, very memorable, and very attractive, and makes you makes you want to talk about it, makes you laugh, makes you smile. So definitely bringing that into whatever it is. Like if you're an accountant, if you're having fun with your clients and being playful, I think that's going to be more some basic numbers. But if you have fun in a different way to present it, I think it's going to be more attractive. Again, that's why I guess my brain and my filter is like branding, marketing. That's what I'm thinking about at the moment. Like how we could have more fun with that.
I'll look at there's certain commercials. Tostitos had a commercial for the Super Bowl, or an ad where they designed this bag, and it was talking about drunk driving. So how to be safe. So according to how much alcohol you had, they developed some kind of technology that's on the cover of the bag. So and when you breathe, so when you're breathing and through your foot and your tactile touching the bag, through the interaction with the bag, it shades either green or red on the steering wheel to let you know, okay, you shouldn't drive, or you should drive. And something as simple as that, they took an element of play to put into that campaign, and it made it memorable. It made you like, oh wow, that is such a cool idea. Instead of telling people don't drink and drive, like the old, don't do this because I say so. That it's not good. This doesn't work anymore. It's not 1950s. I'm sorry.
It just isn't. It's the same. We should have flying cars in 2 years.
Right, exactly.
So man, it's I'm sure we could talk forever.
Oh, definitely.
few questions I have left is like, are there any mentors that you have? And if so, what are some of the messages that you've received from them that have stuck with you or stood out? And who are they? If you want to shout them out? Or...
Well, I have to give a shout out to my parents.
Yeah.
My parents and my brother, because without the support of family, I wouldn't be able to do what I do as effective as I do it. Because having their support, knowing that they are supportive, they may not understand what I'm doing, but they see my passion for it, and they'll give me that encouragement, that motivation, and even inquire, oh, hey, how's this going? You know? So I love my parents and my brother for that. My brother, my younger brother, he motivates and inspires me because seeing the way he works, his work ethic, he does not play. He's about his business. He knows what he wants. He does not play. Right. He does not work, but he plays. He knows how to play, and yeah.
He doesn't muck around.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, he plays, but he doesn't muck around. So he's an inspiration for me as well. So when I see him do his thing and he's in his element when it comes to business, I'm like, yeah, okay. I learned so much from him, and that's one thing I've never. As crazy as this may sound, my students are my mentors.
Yeah, no,
because
I totally get that.
I learned so much from them, the questions they ask, just watching them. And they force me, oh, well, why this? Why this, Mr. Tech? Why that? But couldn't you do it this way? So for me, that always keeps me learning and wanting to go back and engage them again. Because I know, all right, I'm looking forward to this. Let's bring it. I know you're going to ask me something. I got it. I'm ready for you this time. And I'm like, okay. You got me again.
You got me. This is great. Those moments are great.
Yeah, I love those moments. So those teachable moments.
The waters of the uncertainty and the unknown.
Yeah. So I would say my students are my mentors. You know, both students and teachers. So that, and then the experiences themselves. You know, like having life experiences of either being fired from a job or getting thrown into go choreograph for David Letterman, getting the call at 10 a.m. and having to be there by 3 p.m. and do choreography. Those moments, you know, it's like, oh wow, you don't know what you can do until
talk about the unknown.
Oh,
thrown in.
Right,
No family.
And just be like, just get in there. Hey, you said you wanted this, so it's not going to come the way you think or the way you envision it. It comes in many different forms. The timing. All those things. So,
and are there like any? I have a few questions running through my mind. Are there any kind of corners of the internet, any books, any kind of resources that you love and that you keep going back to, that you know that help shape your ideas and your philosophies?
Where? Oh man. Then I would go. There's one book by, I want to say, Sandra Barrett. She's a biochemist, and the book's called Secrets of Your Cells. And it talks about the intelligence of our cells. And just getting into that world of how cells operate, you see so many similarities in how humans behave. Selves, right?
Selves.
We have multiplied outward. So what's happening on that microscopic scale is just fascinating to me, that everything that has been created by humans or developed by humans out in this macroscopic world, it already exists internally.
You got thought by the cells first.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool.
You know, so I always go back to that book when I want to.
What's it? Say that title again.
It's called Secrets of Your Cells.
Yeah, cool.
Sandra Barrett.
Cool.
It's really dope.
And is there any like websites you keep coming back to? I know I saw TED on your iPad.
Oh.
Is that something that you love or?
TED Talks.
Yeah. Love them.
Love is an understatement.
Rabbit holes.
Yeah. It's just because it's a springboard.
Yeah.
It's a springboard for ideas and just experimenting with things. The reason I love it because you have people from so many different disciplines, and they're doing all this interesting work and projects and everything, that it gives me ideas that I may not have thought of because I'm in my element.
Physical movement.
Right. I'm in this, I'm like, oh, all about movement, this and that.
Play.
Yeah, and it could be someone talking about, oh, okay, a physicist talking about magnetic levitation, and I'm like, oh, I can incorporate. You know what? I'm glad about this. So, I love TED Talks. I recommend it to anyone that wants inspiration from any kind of, whether it's business, personal, anything. You know, just expand, be open to receiving that information.
Is there anything you want to plug? Anything coming up? Any events? Any programs, projects?
Well, I will say, I'm going to plug this right now. Well, I mean, I plugged it earlier, but I'll plug it again. So, Just My Imagination. Incorporated.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout. I will be launching my website, I would say within the next 6 months.
Awesome.
So that we can start playing around with some things, throwing some ideas out there. That's the logo right there.
Having a conversation.
Just having a conversation.
Yeah.
Starting with a conversation, and we build from there.
And on this note, I always ask, like, is there one idea that you'd like to leave the people with? Just like, I'll put you on the spot here. I know there's probably thousands. So is there just one thing that's coming up right now that, whether it's a question, whether it's an idea, a philosophy, a learning that you've had, that you'd just like to leave the people with while we're about to sign out here?
It's really good. It's really good.
I always like to think of, like, is there a transmission that you feel like you would love to get across? If there's one thing that people would receive from you that you'd love to give? Again, it could take any form, but that's a nice way I like to look at it.
You're good. Thinking about life and what that really means, I want to say it's an experience. It all comes back to experience for me. The interaction you have with each other, it leaves a memory with people. Like, you walk away, you have an interaction, and we leave with that impression in our minds. So make sure, me personally, I like to always leave a positive memory with people, because you never know, it can make or break that person's day. You know, positive. Somebody could be going through something really bad, and just the subtlest thing, whether it be a touch, hey, are you okay? How's your day going? It changes, the mood of that environment immediately. And people are very appreciative. They may not feel it or recognize it in the moment. They may walk away, be like, wow, I was feeling all out of whack. But just that little interaction, like, oh, I hold the door, or just be kind, be mindful. That's what I would say. Be very mindful of how you interact with people and how that can influence, their feelings and the behavior. Just be very mindful of what you do as an individual and how you interact with other people in the world.
Leave a good taste in the mouth.
Namaste.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much, Tec.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate it, man. Much love.
And we'll do it again sometime.
Oh, definitely,
sure.
Please. I got to come to your side of the world.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
If you're ever doing anything, I love being asked questions and
I agree.
and whatnot. So thanks for tuning in, guys. And until next time, keep the flow growing and the growth flowing.